We're live. What's that music? Who is it? Dylan Wilkerson has entered the chat. He is here. NFL free agency show. Dylan, we are back, baby.
We're back. Haters are furious. The haters are furious because they're like, you know what? Can we at least get a month without Dylan and Karter on the same show? At least a month. And it feels like it's been 3, but the Super Bowl was about a month ago, and we're back here already talking more football.
It's glorious. It's amazing.
A lot has changed. A lot has changed since the Super Bowl. Abby and I have an announcement to make.
Oh.
Yep, live on Karterkast, breaking news. We've started watching Severance.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a very different announcement.
Yeah, we started watching Severance, Karter.
I thought you were about to say you're having a kid.
Great show. We also started Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup yesterday, season 2.
I thought you were about to sit here and be like, yeah, we're pregnant, we're having a kid. You know,
I've been thinking about that all day. All day I was like, what am I going to do to make my grand entrance back to Kartercast with Karter? That I knew that was going to be it.
That's excellent. Justine started watching Severance, but our free trial of Apple TV expired before she finished. And I told her, I said, look, just wait for college basketball to end, then let's dive in. I'll watch all of Severance with you. We'll binge watch it and everything. But
how far did she get? Do you know?
I think like 5 episodes in, 6.
That's tough. That's a tough place to stop.
Pissed.
Karter, you'll love it.
I'm excited, but it is college basketball season. We're recording on March 11th right now. Conference tournament starts today. NCAA tournament next week, but this isn't a college basketball show today. We're talking about the NFL free agency, going bananas right now. You looking at Twitter yesterday, Elon, come on, dog. You can't have Twitter go down on NFL free agency.
The one day, and this is like, you had guys going to Blue Sky, you had guys going to Threads. It's like, this is the one day X can't go down. And, you know, Elon's on there saying, coordinated attack, big attack. Whoever did this attack, if there was actually an attack, do you think they did it on purpose, knowing it was free agency day?
I don't know. If they did, then who would that be? It would be Adam Silver of the NBA, right?
That's good. Maybe no, it wouldn't be Manfred. It's too early for baseball. I don't know who does college basketball. Krzyzewski.
Coach K.
Coach K running a cyber attack in the middle of NFL free agency, the biggest day of free agency of the year.
Yeah, that was very frustrating trying to load all these tweets, especially as a fan of a team who has lots and lots of cap space to spend and needs to buy an entirely new defense. I was sitting there just trying to refresh, and then I get told fake news that we're getting a defensive tackle from the Eagles, and then meanwhile, I basically got ball sacked at that point. You know, Mark Williams 2.0. The Panthers can't have anything nice, but quick statement on that, $26 million is a lot of money. Patriots had the money. It is what it is. Like $26 million when you already have an all-pro defensive tackle is an insane amount of money.
Yeah, it really is. Now, who fake newsed you though?
Every NFL reporter, they go Williams is signing with the Panthers, and then they go, oh, not so fast. Patriots and Cardinals have entered the chat, and the Patriots all of a sudden put up $6 million more per year.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't like a malicious dupe. It was like a new development.
No, I think it was. I think it was leaked by the agent to get it out there so he could get extra money.
Okay, so it was malicious by. And at that point, do you even want him on your team? If that's the kind of guy, you know, that's willing to manipulate the markets like that.
Good spin zone. I can't believe we're starting off with a defensive tackle, potentially not signing with the Panthers.
Right.
Let's roll right into this. Dylan, who's the biggest winner from NFL free agency this week?
Biggest winner from free agency. Oh, brother, it's tough. You have the Bengals. They did a lot to address their defensive issues. I'm going to let me cook here. I'm going to say the New England Patriots, because I believe it's ushering in a new era, the Mike Vrabel era into New England. Because you look at everybody they signed, a lot of defensive linemen, Harold Landry from Tennessee, an edge. You got linebackers, cornerbacks. I think it's very clear what Vrabel's vision is for this Patriots team. Defensive first. Josh Dobbs, not a bad quarterback. I heard they're shopping around Joe Milton, but it's pretty clear, obviously, May is going to be the guy there. Mac Hollins, he's had some glimpses of looking like a decent wide receiver. Austin Hooper, not bad. And then you get Morgan Moses at offensive tackle. It feels like maybe the names aren't that big, but a new era is being ushered in for New England, and it's exciting. Like, that's an exciting thing if you're a Patriots fan.
I think New England was going to be the easy winner from free agency because I think they had the most cap space, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, they spent it, man. And I think they spent it in really good areas where they needed it. Now, I'm sure, like you said, Matt Collins, meh, whatever. But I think every Pats fan was sitting there going, man, I'd love to get a big-time wide receiver in free agency, But I think this proves that New England's going after McMillan or Travis Hunter in the draft. They got to go wide receiver in the draft. They're locked in on their defense. And like you said, the hope that's going to be around the Patriots offseason is going to be at an all-time high with Mike Vrabel coming in and, like you said, ushering a new era. I think the Patriots are the clear winner from free agency in my mind too.
It also feels like players want to play for Vrabel too. Like he's a player's coach, but he's not a pushover. Like, you just see the things that he's done, with Will Compton, Taylor Lewan, even after they played. It just seems like he's willing to get in there and chop it up, but still be able to keep the team cohesive and keep them focused on the goal that is, which is, I'm assuming coming into camp, it's always going to be Super Bowl, but even, winning a division over 500, something the Patriots haven't done in a couple years. Seems like he's going to be able to keep this team bought in, and people are going to want to play for Vrabel. But Karter, biggest loser. What about you? Or biggest winner? I'm sorry.
Biggest winner. I piggybacked off the Patriots one just because I think the Patriots did a lot of good work in this free agency. I think the team that's going to feel like they're one of the biggest winners is the Commanders. You get Laramie Tunsil in there. They're just filling in holes. The other one that I was going to mention was the Bears. It feels like the Bears answered every question they needed to, and their hype train's going to be off the rails. And I know you don't like the Bears this offseason.
They're my loser.
They're your loser.
The Bears are my loser because they addressed issues that they made up. They had the 8th best pass blocking offensive line, and they want to go out and get 2 guards and a center and think that, we're a contender now. It wasn't the offensive line that was the problem. It's your quarterback. Your quarterback takes too long to throw.
I missed this, Dylan. I missed this.
Seriously. And you know what? Ben Johnson, you get in there, let him cook or whatever. I think they were addressing the wrong issues here with their signings because you have 3 offensive linemen, you have 3 defensive signings, and then you have Durham Smythe. Fine. But Bears fans have convinced themselves that it was the offensive line. It was the cause of all of their woes last year. And it wasn't. It really wasn't. They were above offensive lines like the Falcons, 49ers, Chargers, Lions. Like, I don't know. I'm not too bought into what the Bears are doing here. But you have them as your winner.
Yeah, I think I think the offensive line was a bit of an issue, but I also agree that you look at the numbers, you look at the PFF stats, and you go, well, Caleb Williams was at fault for a lot of these sacks. He did hold the ball a little too long sometimes, but I think that offensive line needed to be addressed. And I think in my mind, the biggest winners of free agency are the ones that give their fans the most hope going into the season. And
that's what this is all about, Carter. This until draft season, it's about appeasing the fans, getting them excited.
100%, because now as a Panthers fan, they went all defense in free agency. I'm sitting here thinking, we just went from the worst defense in NFL history to an average defense. We're going to be fine. We're going to win the NFC South and all that. In reality, is that going to happen? Probably not, but that's what it's all about. Let's switch over. Biggest loser. I think we have the same answer here.
Really?
Go ahead.
I said the 49ers.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't have them. Okay.
They did absolutely nothing. Let me scroll down here. Patrick Taylor, Richie Grant, Luke Farrell. I think it was Schefter that said like a huge signing or something. Talking up Luke Farrell, he has like 300 yards in his career or something crazy like that. And then Brett Barch at offensive guard. But Juszczyk, they're not re-signing Juszczyk. They're going to let him test the free agency market. It just seems like they don't do a lot. You lose Debo, who you could sit here and say, he didn't have a great year last year, but we know what he's capable of. It really feels like the 49ers have left themselves out to dry. I know Purdy wants that big contract. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because as we're doing this, deals are still being made. But as of right now, I have the 49ers as a loser. I have the Bears as a loser.
I can't believe you have the Bears as a loser. People are going to hate that.
They are. Hey, let them hate, baby. And what Bernie Williams say? They don't boo nobodies. They don't boo nobodies. Mr. October.
I thought you were going to have the Eagles as your biggest loser.
Now, they have lost a lot. That's true, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's tough.
You look at this for people listening right now. They lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, Isaiah Rodgers, Darius Slay, James Bradbury. They're going to have an entirely new defense this offseason, and I'm sure they're just going to think, okay, we did it once or twice in the draft. We can just redraft a great defense again. We've got this. That's a very, very risky thing to do. And look, there's a great team, Super Bowl roster coming off the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. But at the same time, you look at it and you go, that's a lot of people missing from a Super Bowl roster right there.
That's a lot. Yeah, that is a great point. That's very troubling if you're an Eagles fan. Gardner-Johnson just got traded today to the Texans. And that, I don't want to hop around too much, but the Texans are another team that's like, what are you going to do at wide receiver? Because you have like 8. You got to make some decisions somewhere. I think maybe, is Diggs even able to come back this year?
I would assume he's close to September.
Okay, so maybe that's why, maybe as like a little safety net. But yeah, maybe the Texans, they did some things to address their offensive line. They re-signed some guys, but yeah, I agree with you with the Eagles. That's a very tough look. That's a good point that I did not think about.
Yeah, the Eagles, I mean, that's so much to lose, and I would expect a Super Bowl hangover after that, especially with this division. Look, the Giants aren't anything to brag about. The Cowboys are going to be a middle-of-the-road team, but you still got to worry about, which is crazy to think about, the Commanders might be the best team in this division.
Not crazy. Pick up Deebo Samuel. If he could just look like a bit of what he looked like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not one to talk. I don't think we are ones to talk, but he was looking a little big last year, Karter. If we just lose a little bit of that weight, maybe we can get back to what Deebo was a few years ago. You get Bobby Wagner, linebacker, re-sign Zane Gonzalez, and there are things to look up for this Commanders team on top of how Jaden Daniels looked last year and the success they've already had. I think it's very promising for them as well. They lost somebody. De'Ami Brown. Yeah. Shoot, where'd he go?
He signed a 1-year deal with, I can't remember off the top of my head. This is a pro show, Dylan. Come on, we should have remembered this.
It's tough. It's baseball season.
You're talking
Jaguars.
That's it, because then Christian Kirk left. That's right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I got college basketball in the brain, man. I got conference tournament picks we got to worry about today. Pitt, Notre Dame over, Cal with the spread. There's another one I had, but I can't remember off the top of my head. UCF money line.
Utah State play today?
No.
Give me a second. I got a college basketball pick too. You think I'm out of the game? Oh, please. It is Southern Utah.
Oh, I like that.
Southern Utah money line.
I like it.
Yep. Anyway, NFL free agency.
Let's talk about some of the bigger deals that happened during this. I think this is a team that could have been a potential loser depending on how you feel about this. The whole basically Geno for Darnold thing, where the Seahawks signed Sam Darnold 3 years, $100 million, plus it was $55 million guaranteed. So it's not exactly a $100 million contract like most NFL contracts. It was very inflated on the initial number. But if you're a Seahawks fan, you're not ecstatic, right? You lose DK Metcalf and you bring in Sam Darnold. Look, I think Darnold and Geno, you're potato at that point, but then you lose DK Metcalf and you go, I don't really know what this team is.
I would not say that it's potato. So Geno Smith, 7th best quarterback pass rating via PFF last year. Darnold is he's in a great situation. because he got to throw to Jordan Addison last year, and he got to throw to Justin Jefferson, and all of a sudden he finds himself as a starting quarterback in the league. Like, he wasn't supposed to start last year. J.J. McCarthy got injured. He was probably going to be the starter. And now he's walked himself into a starting position because he was blessed to be able to throw to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I hate this for the Seahawks. I hate it for the Seahawks. I'm not too thrilled about it for the Raiders getting Geno either, but they've done other moves that maybe signal some forward progress. The Seahawks, man, I don't know where they're going to end up because I think we see major regression from Sam Darnold last year. Jackson Smith-Njigba, a great receiver. He's not Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison probably gives him a run for his money.
I think that's a great point. And you lose DK Metcalf, too, going in there as well. And a signing like Sam Darnold, what does that tell the fan base? It says we're okay trying to go 8-9, 9-8, and barely compete for the division, even though this division is sneaky kind of falling apart right now because you look at everything going on right now. Like you said, the Niners are losing a bunch of pieces. Some people are saying their Super Bowl window's already closed. The Arizona Cardinals, they're in NFL purgatory right now. Can't get out of that 6 to 8 win margin right there. And do you trust Kyler Murray?
The Cardinals have taken some steps to address their defensive issues this offseason. You get Josh Sweat.
But do you trust Kyler Murray for an entire season?
I don't think Kyler's the problem.
Really?
I put it a lot more on the defense last year. That was a defense you knew that if you were coming up and you were facing them, you were good for 4 touchdowns. And I think it seems pretty obvious based on the signing. You have 2 offensive signings, offensive tackle and offensive guard. And then you have 4 defensive, 2 edges, a linebacker, and a safety. It seems like they know what the issue is. And maybe Marvin Harrison has a better year this year. I saw something, I think it was Dobbs, so take it how you want to, but comparing Marvin Harrison Sr. and Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rookie years, and they were pretty similar, so it's a decent trajectory to take. But the Rams, well, what are we thinking about the Rams, Karter? Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford's coming back, Kupp's probably going to be out.
Yeah, Kupp's gone. They already released him, I think, this morning as we're recording.
They did?
Yeah, I think I saw that notification. I could be wrong. There's just a lot to keep up with. I tried to have everything written down and everything to go, but Devontae Adams signed a 2-year, $46 million deal with the Rams. I don't think all of that's guaranteed. I think there's a lot of stipulations there as well, like most of these NFL contracts. But, I mean, I think it's an upgrade, to be honest. We saw Cooper Kupp last season. He was a shell of himself. He's clearly on the back end of his career, well past his prime at this point. And are you getting out of bed pumped up for Devontae Adams? I think you're okay with it. I mean, I think it's an upgrade from what Cooper Kupp was last year, but I still don't think you're getting that version of Devontae Adams unless we just see a different version that's fully bought in and Sean McVay figures out how to use him in the best way possible, and just being away from that toxic New York Jets organization just makes him look like the best player possible.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Yes, the New York Jets situation, not great. I agree with that. They got Rodgers out. I don't know if that solves anything. Devontae Adams isn't necessarily the biggest team player that I've ever met. He's not really. I mean, he had that ghost hamstring injury for 2 seasons at Las Vegas when things didn't go his way, or Derek Carr was out. And then he goes to the New York Jets and he gets what he wants to play with Rodgers. And I'm not buying that whole it was all the Jets' fault over there.
Yeah, but I would also combat that and say Odell Beckham wasn't a team player, and he worked out great on the Rams and won a Super Bowl.
That's fair. But I do think once things start to go south, would not be surprised if you see Devontae Adams start to bow out early in the season. That's not. We haven't not seen that before.
But when you look at the division, do you see things going south?
I could see the Cardinals causing some issues. I think going back to the Seahawks, the vision for that team is going to drastically change this year. They're not going to want to air it out like they did with Geno Smith and score 30 points a game, because that's never what Mike Macdonald is a defensive coordinator at his core. I think they're going to spend a lot of resources working on that side of the ball, and maybe that ends up working for him. I don't know. So even when we're talking about, do you see any issues for the Rams? The Cardinals could be shocking. The Seahawks could be shocking with their defense. We could see a complete flip in this division where all these teams are just defensive focused now.
Yeah, but I don't know about the Seahawks.
Other than
though.
the Rams, I would say.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know about the Seahawks though, man. Like the Geno Sam Darnold thing. Yeah, you can say Geno's a better quarterback or whatever you want to say there. There's a clear, very low ceiling with both of these quarterbacks, whether it's Geno with his volatility and turnovers or it's Sam Darnold seeing ghosts in big games.
Mono. Big mono guy. Out indefinitely.
But yeah, Aaron Rodgers released by the Jets. Where do you think he ends up? Pittsburgh?
That would be quite the offensive locker room between Pickens, Rodgers, and Metcalf. That would be like Mike Tomlin. That's like you get a team sponsorship for BetterHelp if you have those three guys on one side of the ball. Because that will be Rodgers blaming Pickens saying it's Metcalf's fault. I don't know. I've heard Steelers, and I thought he was in talk for, was it the Giants?
I didn't see I have only seen the Steelers and then the Rams for a short minute. But if Mike Tomlin ends up somehow making it work, if Aaron Rodgers does sign there and he deals with Rodgers, Metcalf, and Pickens, and somehow it's successful, give this man the Nobel Peace Prize. That is ridiculous.
Make him president. I mean, if we're having issues with Ukraine and Russia, Mike Tomlin can definitely go in there and solve them if he can handle Metcalf and Pickens and Rodgers all on the same team.
Now, if there was a coach to do it, you'd probably pick Tomlin, right?
Oh, yeah, he's the guy. He would be the guy. I don't know of any other, maybe Vrabel, but I would still say probably Tomlin because he has the experience of doing it with AB.
Yeah, but Vrabel couldn't put up with Will Levis.
That's true. He did not put up with Will Levis for very long. That's for sure.
Titans minute. Where are you guys going with number 1 pick?
Can I be honest with you?
You don't care.
I don't care. There are two. I've stood firm in the belief that the draft is a crapshoot. You can have the first pick. How often does it really hit? You know. So
it worked out for the Panthers.
Well, the jury's still out on if it worked out for the Panthers
not
or
still out.
That jury's well. You re-signed Andy Dalton, so if you had no worries, you wouldn't have re-signed him, right? If things were rosy over there at the quarterback position, you don't re-sign your backup that played pretty well for you guys in his absence.
If Bryce Young makes a Pro Bowl, I win, right?
No, you don't. Mac Jones is a Pro Bowler.
Okay, that's fair.
Russell
Tyler
Wilson
Huntley's
last year was a Pro Bowler. He put out the season.
Well, Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate.
He was an MVP candidate at the beginning of the year. That's true.
Are you sussy
Titans,
for Hussey?
I don't care. Huh?
Sussy for Hussey, the High Point Panthers? Did you join the bandwagon?
No, I did not. But they lost, didn't they, to Wofford? No, they won.
That was Furman. That was a different purple team.
Furman. Yeah. Furman's close to my heart. They upset Virginia 2 years ago.
Yeah. Shout out, Ben.
Titans, I don't care. Like, I'll watch the draft to see who we take, but I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, oh, you drafted the wrong person. Like, I'm the one that's in that office 8 hours a day doing all the research on the draft picks. I don't know.
Do you want a quarterback?
Cam Ward would be fun. I don't really want Shador. Travis Hunter would be fun. Abdul Carter, I don't hate that. That's the contrarian pick where, like, everybody's going to want a quarterback. I would be okay with taking Abdul Carter. I would be okay with trading out and getting Russie, even though I saw those rumors debunked. Oddly enough, I'm cool with giving Levis another year.
Of course you. Why?
I'm cool with just let it go, give it another year, and then maybe trade out of the one spot and get. I don't even know. I don't even know what we would get. That's why I could never work in an NFL front office because I don't get it.
I also couldn't get it because I don't understand these cap deals because I feel like you look at a team like Kansas City and they're always under the cap still and they still signed all of these players and Pat Mahomes is making $900 million a year, but it's like backloaded and he's restructuring it every 2 weeks to fit their cap profile.
Yep, that's baseball. Welcome to baseball. Deferred compensation. Speaking of quarterback compensation, Josh Allen now the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. 6 years, $330 million, $250 million guaranteed.
Worth
Not
it.
a surprise, right?
No, you sign that 10 times out of 10. every franchise would kill to be able to sign that contract.
What about Khalil Shakir signing as who is probably the contract would say wide receiver number 1?
I thought that was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to give Shakir. That
What
was
was
a
the-
lot of money.
Do you have the exact number on hand?
Yeah, 3-year, $36 million contract with $18 million guaranteed. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Josh Palmer. I'm sorry. 4-year contract worth 60. Okay, let me redo that just in case we go for a clip. Khalil Shakir's contract, a 4-year extension worth up to $60.2 million, $32 million guaranteed at signing.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for Khalil Shakir. I was kind of shocked to see he got paid that much.
I'm a big fan of Khalil Shakir. I think he's a great wide receiver. $15 million a year is quite a bit. Is it all guaranteed?
No, 32 guaranteed at signing.
It's not that bad then.
Yeah, kind of an interesting spot. And they're keeping the Bills kept guys around. Rousseau came back on a 4-year, $80 million extension, $54 million guaranteed at signing. So Bills are doing their part to keep the band together. They clearly think that they have something going there, which I don't think they're crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking through Schefter's Twitter right now. He just posted all the QB deals right now. Justin Fields to the Jets. How do we feel about that?
Garrett Wilson stock's down. Most of his success is on go routes, and Fields is awful on go routes. So I would maybe take a mental note of that. If you were doing best ball drafts or anything, I would not be taking Garrett Wilson. Would not be taking Garrett Wilson.
2 years, $40 million?
I don't think he's a starting quarterback. Yeah, I don't think he ever proved.
I don't think he is either. I think it's a stopgap for, okay, we'll end up going into the draft again next year and trying to find our guy. I don't think the Jets are competing for anything next year.
Yeah, that's not crazy. They're almost like in a bit of a rebuild, new head coach and everything. New head coach, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Daniel Jones signs a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Indianapolis Colts.
I wish Connor was on here. I bet he's I would love to hear what Connor has to say about the Colts quarterback situation, being so anti-Anthony Richardson, but also you want Daniel Jones? You want him being the starter over Richardson? Would love to know what Connor has to say about that. Me personally, I would go Richardson.
I would go Richardson too. It's the young guy. Take the chance. Daniel Jones isn't taking you anywhere. If you're a Texans fan, how pumped are you just seeing the AFC South right now going, they kind of stink. Liam Cohen is kind of a weird dude.
Yep. Duval. Yeah, and they hardly did anything. I mean, De'Ami Brown is probably their biggest pickup. Titans haven't done anything so far. Colts haven't done anything, and the Texans are here. Berrios, Kirk, Watson. I feel like they signed an offensive lineman today. It's not listed on here, but I thought they did. Gardner Johnson. I mean, they did a lot to address things. They just have a wide receiver room they're going to have to figure out.
Jimmy Garoppolo with the Rams. He re-signed 1 year, $4 million. Doesn't really matter. Probably the biggest signing of the free agency, Zach Wilson, 1 year, $6 million deal with the Dolphins. I think we talked about that when Tua went down with the concussions. I think I mentioned Zach Wilson to the Dolphins on the NFL shows.
You probably did, and I actually like this signing because with Tua's injury history, like Zach Wilson's competent enough to be he's better than Skylar Thompson.
People are gonna kill you for that, but I agree.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the safety net you want if you miss Tua for 3 games. If you want someone that's still going to keep you in the hunt, I don't hate that signing for the Dolphins.
And also, I'll give Zach Wilson some credit that no quarterback was ever going to work with the New York Jets in their situation that they had with their offensive line and how dysfunctional that franchise was. It didn't matter who was walking in that door. It was not going to work out with the Jets. He was obviously third string with the Broncos, just an off year to probably bring his confidence back, kind of like what we saw with Sam Darnold going to the 49ers for a year, going, hey, just work under this system. You're going to work with great coaches and a great culture and just get your confidence back and then go somewhere and see what you can do. And I think I would not be surprised if we're sitting here, Tua gets injured for the Dolphins, and we're sitting here going, Zach Wilson, not that bad, kind of having a Sam Darnold light season. I'm not saying he's going to do the same thing as Darnold, because I think Darnold at one point was close to an MVP candidate. But yeah, I think he could be a competent quarterback, an average quarterback in this league, especially with that receiving core in Miami.
You would think so. I don't hate that move at all for him, and I hate to say it, but Tua is going to miss a couple games more likely than not. I guess 2 years ago he didn't. Huh?
Do you see the video that's going around?
A little overweight on the boat with his family or something.
Can I be honest? I don't care either because Pat Mahomes, we've seen Pat Mahomes with the dad bod. It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't at quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes can still move. Tua has no desire to move now. That's not true. He still tries to, but he probably shouldn't be.
That's genius. We figured it out, Dylan. We need Tua to get super fat and just be like the David Ortiz or CC Sabathia of quarterbacks, where he doesn't move a lick and just throws darts.
Just, right 50, 60 yards down the field. Someone needs to get why am I blanking on the coach's name? McDaniel's on the phone. Someone needs to get him on the phone.
We just get Tua super fat. He's like 350 pounds at quarterback, but he's super good for some reason because he's also hard to tackle at that point, and he's just throwing
he can't
perfect passes.
I do want to bring up real quick. I have a list of the teams here and their free agent signings. The Bengals have done a lot, although they did not extend T. Higgins. They franchise tagged him. They get Samaje Perine. That I would assume that means Brown, running back 1. Do they keep Herbert? Or do they make Perine running back 2? Khalil Herbert.
Probably Herbert, right?
I would think. I don't know. A 2-year deal worth $3.8 million, so they didn't pay him a whole lot. But re-signed Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Cody Ford, and then a bunch of defensive players. Safety, linebacker, 2 defensive linemen, and an edge. Addressing some issues there. You got to feel great about that if you're a Bengals fan.
If you're a Bengals fan and you go, if we have a top 20 defense in the NFL, even top 24 defense, as long as you're not one of the bottom 3, that team was going to the playoffs and had a chance to do some damage in the playoffs last year because that's how good Joe Burrow and this offense is.
100%. I think that's all you needed, and they've already made a jump start at addressing that situation. I want to talk about Myles Garrett. I want to talk about DK Metcalf.
Okay.
And there's one more. If I am the head coach or the general manager of an NFL team, and I don't care how good the player is, and they tell me I want to compete for a Super Bowl, I want to go play where it's warm weather, DK said I want to play where the quarterback situation is good. Then you go to Pittsburgh where there is no quarterback, or then you stay with the Browns because they offered you $40 million a year. I never want you on my team. I don't want you on my team because at that point, you're not being honest. You just want money. You don't care about winning a Super Bowl. You don't care about how good the situation is. You want more money.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's interesting because then once you sign that deal, if you're a guy like Myles Garrett, look, he's one of the best players, if not the best defensive player in the league right now. But you look at the situation in Cleveland and go, look, if this quarterback, if I'm assuming they're going to go for Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders in this draft, if that doesn't work out this year, you're going, I just signed my entire future with this franchise. We have no hope at winning a Super Bowl or even making the playoffs at that point. What's the motivation there? You signed your contract. You're getting a ton of guaranteed money.
Pick me.
Question for Dylan Wilkerson of the Karterkast.
If you want to win a Super Bowl, why are you asking for $40 million a year? Why don't you take a pay cut like Tom Brady did and say, hey, use that extra money, maybe go get us a better wide receiver too? Well, I guess if we're addressing the quarterback in the draft, that's fine. That's been addressed. Why don't you address the offensive line? Why don't you invest in regenerative therapy for Nick Chubb? Why don't you do those things?
I thought you were going to say Deshaun Watson. I was like,
no, they're done. We're done with him. We're done with Deshaun.
I was about to say, I was like, regenerative therapy for Deshaun Watson. You're promoting it?
He needs more like shock therapy.
He just needs he's
Get one of those dog collars that shocks him. No, Deshaun, stop.
He's gonna be like one of those those billionaires you see in the tech world that just randomly just vanish from thin air and they just live on an island somewhere in Central America and you never hear about them again. Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if all of a sudden we found out in 15, 20 years Deshaun Watson had been hiding out on a Central American island, making sure no one saw him ever again, and he just had
laying low.
Yep, just had $500 million in the bank.
Absolutely insane. I still can't believe they got away with that.
The Panthers almost signed him.
Wouldn't that have been something? Probably better than the Bryce Young situation you guys are dealing with right now. Back and forth, back and forth.
Okay, all right. I can't wait for you. You're going to be in such denial when we do our preview shows, being like, oh, no, the Panthers aren't going to win the NFC South. Bryce Young isn't the guy. Andy Dalton, they're starting the wrong quarterback. Andy Dalton's still the guy. The jury was always still out. You got to give me a little credit. Even when Bryce got benched, I did say he stunk because he did stink in those games. But I did say the jury was still out on him. And I did say
I'm saying the same thing.
I did say if he went to a new situation, he would be a Pro Bowl quarterback, and kind of got a new situation last season.
A little bit, but he wasn't a Pro Bowl.
He will be this year.
Probably. I mean, 75% of the league is Pro Bowl, though.
That is disgusting. Why even play the game at this point? Just name the players that are Pro Bowl honorees, and then just do some NFL event. It doesn't have to be the Pro Bowl. It can be some kind of charity thing, and just say, hey, these are the Pro Bowl winners.
Pro Bowl games. They already have it. The Pro Bowl games.
Yeah, but dudes don't want to play in that.
I don't know. I think they're like you're telling me Kirk Cousins doesn't want to go play games for a weekend.
I think Kirk Cousins will go anywhere that's going to give him a good position to play quarterback. What's the deal with Kirk? What's he doing?
He says he wants to start somewhere. The Falcons said they're willing to keep him on the roster, but he won't be the starter. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I don't know if he could deal with DK and Pickens, though. I don't want Kirk in any situation that's going to paint him in a negative light.
So you don't want him in Tennessee?
I would love him in Tennessee. We don't have divas on our team. We just have losers.
Yeah, you just have a retirement home.
Yeah, we have no issues with divas. We just have issues with guys that are bad at football. I memean, NFC South, you talk about the Panthers and everything. Chris Godwin coming back to the Bucs. They signed Bredesen. The Bucs signed Reddick, and then you have the Saints re-signing Chase Young. No worries there.
Not with the Saints. The Saints, I'm not worried about, honestly, in the slightest. They have a disaster situation with the cap on their hands, and they're going to have to run it back with Derek Carr next season. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting pretty right there. I'm not worried about the New Orleans Saints. I think they firmly finish last in the division next year. I'm curious. I think this whole division comes down to, okay, are the Panthers going to have an average defense next season? And what is Michael Penix? Is Michael Penix going to be a guy that can step up and be an above-average quarterback in this league? If he can be an above-average quarterback, the Falcons can easily win this division too. The Bucs are easily the favorite, though. Hassan Reddick, I like that signing. 1 year, you don't commit long-term to him. And then you just run it back with these guys that have proven, look, we're going to win the division year after year. We only need to go 9-8. We'll win the division.
Yeah, that's true. With the Falcons, they haven't done a lot. They signed Jake Matthews on the offensive line. Huh?
They've had to get rid of some dudes, too.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. NFC North, Minnesota Vikings re-sign Aaron Jones. I know there were some questions there. They signed Byron Murphy on a 3-year deal. They did something. Ryan Wright, their punter. I remember getting a notification about that, oddly enough. They re-signed him. Nothing too exciting there, though.
No, but I think they're in a good spot, and if they fully believe in J.J. McCarthy, then I don't think they needed to do much work.
It's J.J. time in Minnesota. Jagan is irate. He hates it, but it's J.J. time in Minnesota, no?
I mean, if you spend that kind of capital on getting a quarterback like that, you get your first-round quarterback, you can't commit 3 years, $100 million to Sam Darnold. You got to run with your guy. You got to run with J.J. McCarthy. And look, I think maybe that we talk about this all the time, getting a year off and, studying the team and everything like that. Maybe that MCL injury was the best thing or meniscus, I can't remember which one it was the best thing that happened for J.J. McCarthy.
It's possible because now they have all the money to allocate somewhere else. You get to, we saw how Addison and Jefferson elevated Darnold's ability. You can only have to think that McCarthy's going to do the same. It's going to be the same situation for McCarthy. Packers and Lions, nothing. The Packers re-signed McManus, their kicker. Isaiah McDuffie re-signed on a free agent deal for the Lions. Davenport, Barnes, Reed, a bunch of defensive guys. Nothing too exciting there, no?
The Lions didn't need to do anything. The Packers, it's I'd like them to have better wide receivers, have better weapons for Jordan Love, but I don't believe the Packers are a real contender for the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they'll be a playoff team again, but I'm not sweating thinking, okay, Packers can win the Super Bowl next year.
No, I don't think so either. I did want to ask you, Najee Harris signs with the Los Angeles Chargers, Jim Harbaugh's Los Angeles Chargers. 1 year, I think I saw like $5 million or 5 and some change. Thoughts on that?
It's a mixed bag because you think about Najee Harris, you're not super excited. He's not the running back that jumps off the screen. He was better last season than people gave him credit for, though.
He played with an awful offensive line. The Steelers' offensive line was not good. And here's what I'm sure you've seen this stat on X, but played every game the last 4 years. That is almost unheard of from a running back. Even if I get it, you're splitting snaps with Jaylen Warren, you're still getting the 1,000-yard mark. I understand that's a little way down now with the extra game, but it's not like he wasn't playing at all and playing every game. He's playing every game, getting 1,000 yards per season, and the guy hasn't really dealt with injuries that much. I mean, that's huge right there as a running back.
Yeah, and just he's going to fit perfectly with what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. Clearly that was Harbaugh saying, I want this guy in the building. And look, am I going to argue against Harbaugh? Even though I don't love Najee Harris, I don't think he's this spectacular back, but getting into a better situation, maybe Najee balls out in Los Angeles. I think he's going to be a great fantasy pickup, especially if you can get him a little bit later if you wait on running backs a little bit.
Yeah, and I would think he's probably 1, right? Is Dobbins still going to be 1?
I would probably lean towards Najee Harris.
Maybe they split like he did with Warren in Pittsburgh, but I did want to talk. We're looking at the AFC West now. Broncos, Dre Greenlaw agreed to a 3-year deal. That was really it. The Chiefs, they re-signed Hollywood Brown, agreed to a 2-year deal with Jalen Moore, offensive tackle. Trey Smith, franchise tagged. Their punter, Matt Araiza, he's going to be back. Nothing crazy. Nick Bolton re-signed. So a lot of re-signings. Kind of par for the course for the Chiefs, no?
Yeah, and they'll piece together some random draft picks that'll contribute in a major way next season, and they're going to be fine, and they're going to be right back in Super Bowl contention. With the Broncos, the defense wasn't the problem in the slightest.
No, not at all.
They have a lot. Clearly, this shows they're going at. I think it's between them and the Cowboys going after Ashton Jeanty and the NFL draft.
I would have to think so. And I think they need to do something about the wide receiver room, too, outside of Sutton. They had some guys that stepped up, but you would hope they address that situation in the offseason. Their offensive line, I'm trying to look here real quick. I don't remember it being too bad.
Are we betting on Raiders overs this year?
I like it.
I feel like their defense
I kind of like what they're set up to do.
I feel like a good chunk of their defense got taken out. Yeah, they'll replace some dudes and whatnot. Max Crosby's still there. But then you got Geno in there at quarterback. They're just going to be chucking.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of chucking. Max Crosby, you mentioned him. He signed on a 3-year extension. That's huge for them. I think the question you have to ask is, Jacoby Myers, are you okay with him being wide receiver 1?
No, but this team should win. This team needs to keep losing games. But the issue is you bring in a super old head coach in their 70s and Pete Carroll. That's not a rebuild coach.
No,
if you want to rebuild, you bring in a hot shot. No, you're bringing in a coach I'm a win now coach. And you bring in Geno Smith that says, look, if you commit your future to Geno, you're saying we're trying to win right now. I'm sorry, Geno's not a win now quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So, like you're saying, the view of the franchise is like, kind of, what are we doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. What the F are the Raiders doing?
That's fair.
What is the ceiling for this team? Can they have a winning season in your mind? In this division, they're going against I think this is the toughest division to go against. You got Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, Sean Payton and the Broncos, and then, of course, Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs. They have no shot.
Yeah, that's true. You have some tough teams to play against. It is kind of crazy that the AFC West is now one of the toughest divisions in football.
And on top of that, it's also by far has the best coaches in a division.
Oh, yeah. That's not even close. I did want to say with the Broncos real quick, they had the number 1 rated offensive line last year. So clearly don't need to address that in the offseason, but they had the 67.7 receiving rating. Just go get one more wide receiver, and I think you're set. You go get one more wide receiver 2 behind Cortland Sutton. You let
I think they need a
Marvin
bell
Mims
cow.
or Vele be the 3, and you're set.
And I think they need to go get a bell cow back in the draft.
Yeah, you need a back too.
Their running game was so disgusting last year. Javonte Williams, I know he goes to the Cowboys. Yuck. Javonte Williams was, and the funniest part is you say, okay, the Broncos had the number 1 offensive line last season. Yeah, and their run game still was horrendous. All those running backs are terrible on that roster.
Really bad run block grade, 67.7 run block grade. That's 10th. I guess that's not really bad. That's 10th though. And they had the number 1 pass block grade.
That's crazy. But
yeah,
a lot of defensive signings in this free agency. It felt like a very defensive heavy free agency, and then a lot of washed up quarterback signings.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I would lean. Where do you? I don't know where he goes. I mean, Pittsburgh is the only one I think that makes sense in my mind, because I don't think he's going to be willing to go be a backup somewhere unless Tennessee's like, hey, Rodgers, come in. We're going to draft a guy like Cam Ward-Shadur, sit him for a year, but we want you to start for the season.
He has property in Nashville. I would hate it. I would hate that move, but he has property in Nashville.
He could hook up with Clay Travis.
Yeah, I'm sure they get along pretty well. I'm sure they would have a lot to talk about. That's what I would say.
Anyhow, I think we nailed it, right?
I'm scrolling through this page. I think we covered all the big ones.
I think we covered all the big ones. The Pastronaut, he's at the Pats for 2 years, $8 million. I actually like that for the Patriots, just in case Drake May goes down. But yeah, anything else we want to talk about? A little yakking right now.
You think Joe Milton ends up being a starting quarterback somewhere?
I think he ends up starting by the end of next season somewhere, but not day one.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair conclusion to come to. I think that's kind of what the Patriots' thought process is we can go get Dobbs, who is a backup, and maybe try to dish out Milton, who's a team might see as a potential starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think a team that's desperate and they need someone in there as a stopgap quarterback, and you go, we could do a lot worse than Joe Milton. Let's just send out a 6-rounder real quick and let's grab Joe Milton.
That's a signing that rejuvenates a fan base. That's an exciting signing. Joe Milton, it might not pan out, but it's exciting.
How's golf been?
Golf's good. We got the Players this week, which is, some people call it the 5th major. It's a pretty big event. We get Thomas Detry, 90-1 at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Tony Finau, your boy, has been doo-doo poo-poo so far this year.
Not terrible.
Not great. The guy can't putt, so it's tough to win when you can't putt. But yeah, I'm probably going to get the article out hopefully today because it starts Thursday. But yeah, golf's been good. Baseball's been good. Go check out the baseball content.
Go
fantasy
check out
draft Sunday.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, fantasy baseball draft this Sunday.
Yep. Big money league, $100 buy-in. So
ooh,
I need the brain to be firing right. I would ask you how college basketball is going, but you're on here talking about it about 3 times a week. So
5 times a week it feels like, and then I'm having to do the BYU pods as well.
Yeah. How about NBA Hornets done?
Dunzo, they're terrible. We did capture the flag. You know they're going for Cooper Flag right now.
I see what you're saying.
Give me. I know they don't have. I don't think they even have odds yet. Maybe they do. Who should we look at for the Masters?
Ooh, they do have odds out. I don't know what their odds are, but I'm going to give you 2 guys that are probably going to be 50-1 or longer.
Colin Morikawa?
No. Guy can't win a tournament to save his life, even though I did bet on him this week. I'm going to go Sepp Straka. And
don't know who that is.
Christian Bezuidenhout.
You made those up.
No, those are real guys, believe it or not.
Are they backup tight ends by chance that you're betting on?
Offensive lineman, backup offensive lineman. Sepp Straka is going to be. Sepp Straka is 120-1. Miswedenhu's 210-1.
Okay,
So,
I love it. All right.
Is your long shots.
I'm not doing Tony Finau. I'm done with Tony Finau. I took him in one tournament this season already, and I said, you know what? We're done with the Tony Finau experience.
If you want a serious one, Jordan Spieth.
38-1. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, no, I need to watch Severance, but that's after college basketball ends. Who are you thinking for college basketball? Who do you like? I know you don't watch a lot.
Not Alabama. I would take the field against Alabama. I have liked. I kind of want a fun team. And I don't want to go Michigan or Tennessee, even though Tennessee's pretty good. Just start spewing out teams for me. I'm thinking
Illinois,
Big Ten,
Maryland, Michigan State, Duke, Houston.
I'll go Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan State. I better see your bracket. I better see you in the Karterkast bracket pool this year.
We'll see. I'll pray about it.
No, you're going to join.
We need to do a show where you can advertise it as guy that doesn't watch college basketball previews March Madness.
Just do a whole video where it's like the girl, or even if like my wife, when she fills out a bracket, she has to watch a lot of college basketball, so she probably knows a little bit more than the average person. But most people, when they're just like, yeah, I think their uniforms are cute. Oh, I think the coach is hot.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm not above it. I'm not above it.
We'll look into that. But make sure to subscribe at Kartercast on everything, at Wilkerson A. Dillon, at Karter B8. We'll be here all college basketball season long. Connor, Chase, and I will be doing NBA stuff once college basketball ends. And then Dylan, golf on the website, Kartercast.com and everything like that. And on Twitter, at Wilkerson A. Dillon. Once again, at Kartercast on everything. And then all the baseball stuff. If you're a baseball fan, make sure to check it out. Dylan's going to be doing content with baseball all season long. So check out the YouTube channel at Kartercast on there as well. Download SeatGeek, use code Kartercast, $20 off your first purchase, $50 minimum purchase required, and we will be back. I will be doing live streams. I'm going to be doing. You want to hop in a little live stream sometime this week on college basketball?
I'll check my schedule this week.
Yeah, I'm going to do.
I'll check my schedule.
I'm going to do some conference tournament reactions on YouTube and Twitter.
Deal.
You can just pop in for like 5 minutes. You don't have to be there long.
Yeah, I can do that. I can give my expert commentary.
I love it. All right, well, make sure to follow at Kartercast and everything. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.